what would have been the best game of the week before the season started. Just get ready for like what looks like a low scoring game at this point. The Rams have only scored over 20 points one time this year, and the Cowboys defense hasn't let up 20 points in a game this year. They're playing at SoFi Stadium, the building that Kroenke could not have built in St. Louis, with a meager over-under of 45.5. Yeah, I got that little stab in there.
I love it. Is Cooper Rush the best quarterback ever?
So I saw a thing. I think it was Kirk Herbstreit. No, not Herbstreit. It was one of the guys. I don't know. But they were basically talking about how Dak Prescott's just not that good of a quarterback. And everyone just has it in their mind, and they made up that Dak's a great quarterback. And looking at the stats, like season long, they compared him to Kirk Cousins, and it was very similar. And it was like, he's Kirk Cousins, man. So
Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback, just not in prime time.
But okay, I'm saying, Kirk, you're not putting Kirk Cousins' name up there with Mahomes and Brady and these big name guys. So what I'm saying is, how do you pull Cooper Rush right now? Like, I feel like you can't. For one, Brady Prescott can't even grip a football right now, so I think he's pretty much out this week. They kind of said he was out, and then they kind of went back on it. He's still questionable at the moment, but like, I know Jerry Jones is just gonna put Dak back in there, and they might just look terrible. He might not be good with that hand injury. The throws might not be there. I mean, it was a surgery that he had like 3 weeks ago. So I'm not excited about Dak's return right now. Cooper Rush has a really good connection with CeeDee Lamb. The running backs are looking at least decent. I mean, they're not utilizing them as much because they don't need to, because Cooper Rush actually looks good. He made Noah Brown a thing. Gallup's back now. Gallup got a little bit of work. He's not, the ideal spot right now, but he just came back from an injury. So I think the only person who's really hurt from Cooper Rush's takeover is Dalton Schultz, who's basically been non-existent.
Yeah, Schultz had a really big relationship with Dak, apparently, because he was awesome the first week when Dak played. Then he got hurt, and we haven't really seen much of him since. Of course, he was injured as well. I mean, Gallup came back and played 64% of the snaps, but I bring up the Cooper Rush thing because he's in a contract year. He's an undrafted, or he's a free agent next year. And I think he played his way into a starting job. I really did. I think we're going to see him starting for a team next year.
I was actually having a conversation with someone about this, about Davis Mills as the same concept. Like, I don't see them as year-long starters. I see them as they are working themselves a contract for the future as, at the very least, a backup quarterback. I think Cooper Rush could be arguable that he could be a starter, but I mean, if you look at the stats, they're not overwhelming. But he's done the job, and they've got the wins, and that's what really matters. Obviously, it's the defense that's carrying things on Dallas. Their defense looks ridiculous and stout. I mean, I guess there's a reason they've drafted 9 linebackers the last 9 straight years. But no, in reality, like, Cooper Rush and Davis Mills are going to be like, they're going to be the Chase Daniel. That we're like, oh, Cooper Rush, he's on that team now. Like, he's been back. Yeah, this is his 17th year of backing someone up. I think he's just, I'm happy for both of them. Unfortunately, Jerry Jones is going to completely replace Cooper Rush immediately, and I think it's going to be a bad move for him.
I can see Cooper Rush starting on Tampa Bay or Indy or someone next year. Maybe as a fill-in for for Trey Lance until he gets healthy. I mean, with what he's done, I mean, I don't think you can discount what Cooper Rush has been able to do.
It's been impressive, and I think what's most impressive is him coming and being like, hey, CeeDee Lamb's the best receiver on the field. Let me throw it to him. 11, 12, and 8 in his 3 starts, like, target-wise. Yeah. I would do the same thing, but like,
why wouldn't you do that?
Dak barely did that. I mean, he did have 11 targets, but half of those were probably Cooper Rush in the first game when he took over. So, no, I'm excited about that. Honestly, the running back game, you're happy about this. Like, you got a split backfield. They're both pretty much utilized. They're always going to be there. I don't think I think someone's probably like, I drafted Zeke and I thought he was going to be back, or I drafted Pollard and I thought he was going to take over. Just be happy. There's not a whole lot of split backfields that actually work, and you get both of them. Like, even Kareem Hunt's actually having some off weeks. So,
yeah, I mean, the Rams, they're super stingy against tight ends and running backs. So watch out for Schultz, watch out for Zeke on that one. But I mean, Lamb, they're 30th against wide receivers. Lamb and Brown and Gallup could all have monster days here. Obviously, Lamb's first in the pecking order there. But if Gallup gets more snaps this week, I mean, he could, vault Noah Brown and have an awesome game. I'm not starting Gallup this week. I still want to see it develop here. But as of now, Noah Brown's still number 2. That could change, even though he's been very impressive for what he's done. And Pollard may be a deep play this week, especially with the receiving game.
I think they're both plays. I think Pollard and Zeke are at least flex plays each week. I mean, you're running back 2, flex, whatever. I mean, running back's really not that great this year either. I mean, there's a lot of like guys you wouldn't expect to play here and there. So obviously we got some backups coming in doing some good work. But over to the Rams, you're going to play Cooper Kupp because for some reason he's always wide open. I don't know if you guys knew this, but watching a game, and especially when you're playing against them and knowing you're playing against them and you need a certain amount of points not to happen, watching Cooper Kupp just be wide open is just ridiculous. And I don't understand how he's always so wide open. Like the little screens and stuff makes sense. He got 2 people kind of blocking for him, but like he runs a route and he's just open 17 yards downfield and nobody's even close to him. I don't understand it. Mind blowing.
They talk about his IQ all the time and his football IQ, and he's just that much better than everyone else. My note for the Rams on this is literally Kupp or bust on this. Dude, it is just insane that Stafford cannot get anything done with any of these other guys.
Although Higbee had a pretty good game last week. He was actually, it was like literally the 2 of them getting targeted over and over again. So Higbee, 14 targets last week. So, and he's actually been a pretty solid tight end. I know you're not a big fan of Higbee. Tight end 7 on the year right now. So, but yeah, no, Allen Robinson is he done or is it just,
dude? I thought he was just bagging on the Bears last year because of the contract situation, but he looks nothing like he used to look.
I mean, he's got like 5 yards per game or 5 targets per game is the thing, probably averaging 5 yards per game too. But honestly, like they threw 1 red zone shot to him and it was a bad throw. Like it wasn't a bad throw. It was just a good defensive play. And then never looked at him again, it felt like. And I was like, he was supposed to come down with that or he's done. Like, I mean, he looks terrible, obviously, but at the same time, they're not using him either. It's just Cooper Kupp. And then.
Yeah. And McVay came out and said a lot of the things that are going on with Allen Robinson are not his fault right now. It sounds to me like a coach standing up for his team. I wouldn't be surprised if you see a bunch of stuff forced his way this week. Especially, I mean, the Cowboys have a really good defense here. So you could see these. I don't understand the Ben Skornak stuff. I don't even know how to say his last name, but
he's Cooper Kupp light is what I like to call him. Because every time I see him, I was like, is that Cooper Kupp? Oh, okay, good. It's Skron. So let me just victory lap here. You guys shouldn't have got your hopes up about Cam Akers. 8 carries for 13 yards. That is not a good stat line. And you can be like, well, he didn't get enough carries. He got 13 yards on 8 of them. So that was bad. Yes, San Francisco's defense is good. San Francisco gave Stafford a beating, but at the same time, you gotta get more yards than that. And I'm sitting both of them. I thought Henderson was kind of taken over after the first couple games, but he has also done nothing. He looks fine with his carries. He's still averaging like 4 yards per carry. Akers is not, and I think it's time to admit that maybe he's just not that good.
Yeah. I mean, they're sitting in a 60-40 split right now, and I think that's exactly what we're going to see all year. That line for the Rams, losing Whitworth, I did not think losing one guy was going to be that impactful for the Rams, but it really was.
It is hurting them quite a bit. But yeah, no, I mean, it wasn't just Bosa either. It was like the entire San Francisco line. Every time I was like, they're going to get a sack. They're going to get a sack. Which one is it? And like, they were swapping them around. They were just having fun out there. But I'm not too worried here. I think the Rams actually pull this out as much as I hate it. I hate both these teams, so I don't really want either one of them to win. If they could tie, that'd be great. I think that Stafford gets the ball out of his hand a little faster. I think they work. McVay is definitely on edge right now seeing this team, so I think he's going to come up with some schemes and trick plays and whatnot and beat Dallas because it's Cooper Rush at the end of the day. It's a backup quarterback, and if the Rams can't pressure him enough to get him to make some mistakes, then that's on them. So Cowboys could win this game, but I cannot take them in good faith with Cooper Rush here.
I like the Cowboys in this one.